All right, everybody, welcome back. We're at the 60th annual Starbirds Custom Car and Auto Show here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, of course, I'm good here with my buddy Lathan's McKay.
Lathan McKay.
McKay, co-founder of the great Evel Knievel Museum. And just overall killer dude that we've been hanging out for a while now, since California. And you brought a great guest with us today from Tulsa, the great and honorary Tony Holden. So welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I've never thought I'd get an opportunity to actually sit and talk with you, man. This is an honor and a privilege, I mean, for everything, I guess, famous boxing promoter. I mean, what do you, your accolades are boxing promoter. That's how it all started, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Pretty much. I mean, some of the famous names. I mean, I know them all, but
I did Tommy Morrison's career. That was on Rocky V.
Yeah, that was the machine gun, right? Tommy Machine Gun. Tommy Gun, yeah.
I did Prince Nassim Hamed, and when he fought Mark Antonio Barrera in Vegas, the biggest fight of the decade. Johnny Tapia, Joe Macy. I've had several world champions.
Yeah, you've done that. Is great. And obviously, we were just talking before we started. So you live here in Tulsa, but you hang out and you go across the world to Bali.
I just got back from Bali. I've been there 3 times in the last year.
40 hours in an airplane.
40 hours. It's not fun,
but it's worth it.
It's worth it. And you get there, it's great.
Gotcha.
And
so,
he gets harassed by Sylvester Stallone weekly by phone, and Frank.
Do you really?
I talk to Frank about once a week. Yeah.
Do you really?
That's
great.
Frank's friend of mine. They I own the Mickey Mantle Childhood Home.
Oh, really?
In Commerce, Oklahoma, and they shot a scene for the Tulsa King, Sylvester's.
I was just
series,
about that because I watched it and I'm like,
so wait, that scene was cut?
It was cut. Sylvester was pissed because that was his baby. He wanted to go to the Mantle House, so we spent the whole day there.
What did they use it for?
Yeah,
production-wise, was it like a location for him?
No. What it was, in his character, he was a huge Mickey Mantle fan.
Oh,
the Tulsa King, he wanted to go to the Tulsa. To his home, so it was locked, and it shows these guys Jimmy in the lock and breaking in.
Oh, wow.
Really? And they cut it out of it?
They cut it out
I was going to say, because I didn't see that part, because the funny part, when I got here, I loved Tulsa King. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And we watched it all, and I was on the way down with my crew, and I was talking the kids back home, my girl, and she goes, you going to go by that big statue you always talk about in Tulsa King in a closing with the big dude, the big other dude? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go find it. And all of a sudden we come around
It's right there, bro.
I pulled around the corner with all my trailers. And I'm like, holy shit, it's right there. So I was all excited. So that's so cool, man. It was right there.
Yeah.
And so that's great. So, that's cool that you're part of Tulsa King and all that stuff. So how did you, between all that stuff, how did you guys get hooked up? You and Lathan?
Alone?
No, I mean, you and Lathan.
Lathan and I. It's it's bizarre because I knew Evel.
Yeah.
And became friends with Evel. And when he passed, I started collecting Evel everything. I had a guy full-time finding everything. I mean, I owned the semi, I owned the Supervan, I owned crash helmets, and then this guy named Lathan called me, and I'm like, yeah.
Lathan's called me.
Whatever. I didn't take
Whatever.
it serious. So he goes, and I had a museum. I started a motorcycle collection. I had a 4-car garage, and I just blew it out and ended up having this museum. And my wife walked in there one day and said, who owns all these motorcycles? But anyway,
I know how that goes.
I started putting Evel stuff in there. And at one point, I was the largest collector until this man came around. And he called me, and I didn't really
Somebody's
take him
always got to be
serious.
better, don't you?
Yeah, it was like, I came to see you in 2013, I think. Yeah, I was on the first tour of displaying it at motorcycle events. And
I didn't take him serious. And, so I talked to him on the phone. He came by, and he met me, and I'm like, okay, maybe this guy. And then the second time he came into my place, he had a van, and he came walking in there with the Wembley helmet, with this helmet, with Evel leathers. And I'm going, what the hell?
Who is this guy? That's what I said when I first met him, too. I'm like,
if it wasn't for this man, all this memorabilia would be still scattered everywhere. This man went in and put it all together. The museum wouldn't be here because of him. The truck would not be. He's just done so much.
Yeah, and my partner, Mike Patterson, I couldn't have done it without him either. It was weighing me down. But when Tony was kind of the forerunner, godfather of what became
everything.
Yeah, because Crystal talked about you all the time.
Yeah,
Crystal's Evel's widow. She's one of my best friends, and she's one of Tony's really good friends. And I called her and said, I'm going to go see this guy. And she goes, oh, he's great.
That is so cool.
So great. So that's how I met him. And
when I first went to California, when this all came to I guess, fruition of the tour and all the stuff that we were going to do. And, we joke about it now, like, who he was and how he got kind of introduced to me, And I didn't really know who he was when he was in California, sitting on a chair. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, he's from the museum. Or he takes care of the museum. Was it a third party told me. And I'm like, what do you mean? He like sweeps the floor or what like what? And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really pay attention.
I mostly produce movies and TV and documentaries and everything.
Austin
got a huge background.
Austin, my film guy. And I go in and I walked in there because I was taking care of everybody, because it's our, company and stuff like that. And I'm like, I just kept looking at him and I'm like, there's way more to that dude than that. And I started looking
at the museum.
That was cool.
None of us really have a title. I would say, because we'll all do anything.
Yeah.
Everybody there just chips in and does whatever they can. It's kind of a team thing. So
yeah, and I think that's the best part that I liked about him, and we've been communicating ever since then. And he's just like a book of knowledge. It's just like, oh my God, and the best part about with anybody with networking, he's willing to share it with anybody, and that's what we are. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, you need to call this guy, you need to call that guy, you need to call this guy.
I've met the most incredible people through this journey.
Hey, we're on it. I know what's happening. Hey. He just comes right in here.
I just want you to know that
look at so everybody.
Sale going on with the Evel Knievel stunt cycle.
So we don't. Let's go. So I knew he was going to do it, and
inaccurate.
He goes through. This is totally inaccurate, but he goes through. Look at it. So everybody, this is our good. Look, well, now you might as well introduce. So this is our good friend Rob Marici.
Yeah. Monty
Nucci, John Abucci. You might have
Moriarty.
Yeah.
Motormania. This is my good friend Lathan McKay from the Evel Knievel Museum.
That hurt.
This is Big Bad Mike from Motormania. This is Tony Holden.
Big Bad Mike. I'm gonna die.
There and this Rob. There's the door.
Big Bad John.
All right, get out of here.
Big Bad John.
Yeah.
From Motormania.
You're gonna
Motormania Media.
We'll have a podcast in a little while, and Tony Holden and all these other guys. It's gonna be great.
Rob just got fired.
Rob's got fired. Rob's got
fired.
I thought we locked that door. I swear. Yeah, fired.
I got
Tony. You fire people a lot, right?
Not anymore. He left the casino.
I've left that world. But yes, I used to.
I don't know if I'd be like to be worked or fired from you. I think it'd kind of scare me a little bit.
Sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
The third time I came to visit him, he was at the casino, and he's like, just come by. We'll go to dinner, and he got me a room and everything.
Yeah.
We go in steak dinner.
You got a steak dinner? What is it? Okay, the steak dinner.
No,
go ahead.
He has to go back and forth and commute from his place here to Miami all the time.
Yeah.
So he had this Sprinter van that was just decked out with neon and a bar, and it was quite plush, actually.
It was a long ride. It was an hour drive. I had to do something.
I'm sure my crew would okay if we had a Sprinter van with the bar and some flush sheets.
And that's when he took me to the Mickey Mantle boyhood home that he owned at the time.
Yeah,
that is great.
One thing about this man talk about Lathan with Evel Knievel that really impressed me is I was trying to track down all this memorabilia.
Yeah.
And Evel didn't even know where it was. When Evel was alive, Evel wanted me to find the Wembley bike and this and that and help him. And I don't know how he did it, but he tracked down everything.
That's the reason I did it. Actually, the fascinating thing for me was the historical significance.
It's the hunt.
I everything that I found was from studying photographs and stories, and then it was a chain reaction. So you find one thing, and I heard about this, because half of it, I would say half of his memorabilia was hidden, because some of it was dealt with in a shady way,
right?
Or he gave it to somebody who's passed on, and it was in their closet, and their kids sold it to somebody. I mean, that's the Wembley helmet was passed around from Frank Gifford's son.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
He gave it to Frank. He threw it to him after he got off the plane. Here you go. And then it was on his shelf for 25 years, and then his son got it and sold it for $14,000 to somebody, and then that guy sold it for $25,000.
And what year boat was that? What
that was at least probably 20 years ago, but it floated around for a while. What was that?
The Chili race is starting.
The Chili race, the Chili boat
race. I think I don't know.
Some rat rods.
But that was the whole thrill for me, was the finding and the hunting of the stuff, because it was just fascinating. It was archaeology. It was evil archaeology.
I think that's the best part of hunting, is finding and hunting. Yeah. And once you get it, you're like, okay, let's go to the next piece.
That's the thing. I never wanted it to say it was mine. I got it and I put it away and I went for the next thing, because the whole goal at the end of the day was to build a permanent brick and mortar museum for him.
And you've done, even watching documentaries of what you've done, even with the Mack truck with Rob and everything that you've done, it's just so great. Your passion is on it. That's why even my small collection that I brought part of today with the toys, it's just great seeing people look at it and hearing the stories. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, the toys are just that's what's ingrained in everybody's the toy.
If you're a
It's really-
'70s child,
How many
you
times-
don't get it.
How many
Yeah.
times have you seen that?
Well,
I had the thing. that
Yeah,
was-
everybody, yeah, all day long. I had that thing,
I
the little
crank.
I
Well-
crank, or the ripcord. Everybody's doing the ripcord thing, you know.
All these urgent cares came after their time. If they had urgent cares, and every time you went to emergency room, there's a kid
Yeah.
that tried to play Evel Knievel with the broken arm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumping over his friends.
Yeah.
jumping on your friends, jumping on somebody's
Yeah,
ribs, or
man.
smashing somebody's arm,
Oh,
stuff like
all
that.
of us did that.
Yeah.
I remember I did it one time and the front wheel fell off in the air. And that was
Was it a Schwinn?
it was a swing.
It was,
Yeah.
it was just when we talked about the pedals. Lathan was talking about how when they came out with the freestyle bike, and we didn't know you had to pedal backwards and do everything on there, and then as far as doing stuff, and then the cleats that were on those damn foot pegs, man.
Oh,
they rip your
that-
shins right
yeah,
off.
and those were stitches.
That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
quit riding. I rode
Yeah.
BMX for a while, and I had a full rake by the pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just grated my skin off my shin. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'll get a
Absolutely.
skateboard.
And I mean, a lot of people don't know your history also, is because I mean, you started out doing BMXing and skateboarding. That's what Lathan. That's where you started.
Yeah, when I started skateboarding, that was it for me. I was like, no coach,
That was it.
pure personal freedom on wheels. It was.
And you went to national tours and everything, didn't
Yeah,
you?
well, yeah, we were early on. We did like the first X Games exhibitions where they were small,
Yeah.
and then
Before anybody really knew it, well, Tony
then-
Hawk and all the guys, right?
yeah, and then the industry took a really big nosedive, and then I went to college for a while, and then only other things I was really into cinema, but now it's just like skateboarding exploded after that.
Yeah,
now
skateboarding-
everybody's good. It's like
And
back
you-
then there was 30 guys, now there's 5 million guys.
Oh my gosh! And it's just like anything that you did, Tony, or anything you did, Latham. Like your passion, or anything that you do is so extreme. Like even with your skateboarding and what you did before, and now going into your filming documentaries, are amazing.
Well, I always call myself a victim of my own passions, and it's a
Yeah.
play off you're a fashion victim.
Yeah,
It's a passion victim.
it's true. Yeah, I mean,
You
you're.
just can't help it. I
Yeah.
have to be doing something that's pretty difficult all the time
I mean,
to get the high.
to get the
Yeah.
high of it. I mean, even
Since
the
I don't
puppy-
use drugs because they'll blow you all to hell.
Yes. And then next thing you know, you're running around town with like a midget in your backseat or something. You know,
Where is
See,
my cook?
I don't know where he is at. He's got to be around here somewhere.
He's
He'll be
taking a
coming
nap
somewhere.
somewhere.
He's taking a nap somewhere. The so
Uh-oh.
now we're in the great. So when did you first meet Evel?
I believe it was 1997. Being a boxing promoter, Bob Arum Top Rank. It was Bob Arum and Don King.
Okay.
So,
Okay, gotcha.
What was Don really like?
I still talk to Don. He's still doing
Is he
shows.
character?
Are you
Oh,
serious? Really?
Don's
Gotta
a lot
be the
of fun.
Oh man, I can't.
I'd love to hang with Don King, man.
Don's a lot of fun, and you know, forget all that negative. Crap.
He's bigger than
really.
life.
He was actually. I never had a problem with Don. I did several shows with him. Everybody
Yeah.
says you have a good contract. I'd rather work with him than anybody.
Yeah, I'd love to sit and talk to the guy for anything.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
awesome. I mean, that's all who. Obviously, when I was growing up, I was I grew up. I was born in the '70s, so going through, and then when Tyson, all we knew was Don King.
Yeah.
We were looking for Don King when we were looking for Tyson when he came
Yeah.
out with that hair. You
So-
know, he's all shaking his hand. I mean, that guy's great.
So I met Evel at a boxing match.
Okay.
Bob Arum in Top Rank, who did the Snake River Canyon jump.
Okay.
That
Okay.
was
Yeah.
done by a boxing
Wow, really?
promoter. So, we both knew Bob, and we're sitting in Bob's seats, and I'm sitting next to Evel, and he was Elvised out back then. And
Oh
it
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
it was
That's what I always compare. Everybody
Gold
compared.
rim glasses with the pink lenses.
Sugar Ray Leonard and Hector Macho Camacho at the MGM Grands.
Wow.
We had him.
I'd love to sit there,
Yeah.
man.
And we just sat there and talked and had a grand time. And then when I
That's
was running the
that's
casino,
Define's badass, by the way.
oh.
I'm sorry, in my book, that's just so cool.
So then I brought him to the casino, and we talked every day. Every day he'd call me. Just he turned out to be kind of, I think, lonely at the end, but boy, he told me everything. I didn't pull the chute. I just, he'd go on ramps and
Did he
races.
call you in the middle of the night like everybody else, like 2 a.m?
A couple of times, and I told him to stop.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
so
it's like
great.
evil. My wife.
He would call people most of the time like 2 to 5 in the morning.
On the doc that you guys did there, I saw that he would call people randomly just to talk at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
He
so
would-
it's true.
He would call me, "Hey, I'm watching American Idol. Did you see that hologram on Elvis?" Or just random stuff all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Because in the end, he was living by himself.
No,
No,
it was
it's
still,
a crystal.
It was still Crystal.
but he
Okay.
was in Clearwater when he was in a lot of alien. He was alien.
Okay.
He was in a
Gotcha,
he was in
gotcha.
a big leather like lazy boy most of the time when he was.
Really?
Yeah, when he had his transplant and other things. but
Okay. Gotcha.
He was in a lot of pain later on.
He looked like the last. the last few things that you had of was on the docks and stuff. You could see when he was getting up and doing.
You break your pelvis more than twice. That's not good.
Evil was the kindest, most bitter man I've ever met in my life.
Yeah,
That's a nice duality.
Yeah.
That's a good way to roll that out, man.
Yeah.
That's a good way to roll it out.
And angry.
Get angry. Yeah.
Yeah, he would get Crystal's stories are incredible. See, he could deal with the biggest nightmare of a situation and not get mad at all. And then the smallest little thing he would just blow up.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I told
That's
her
crazy.
I think he was one of the first people to get kind of what's going on in football with the head injuries.
Yeah.
Because Kelly Knievel told me even after Caesars, he was not like that before Caesars. After Caesars, his temper was different.
Yeah.
Now, he had smashed his head onto the cement.
And Caesar was 68, right?
Yeah. He said he was different after that.
Yeah.
So I think the trauma from his head injury was part of that.
And that's crazy. I mean, it happened in 68, and then he really didn't get mainstream until 69 and 70. That's when it all started going crazy.
Well, and the interesting thing that people don't really realize, after Caesars, from when he started riding the American Eagle bike,
Yeah.
it was almost 600 pounds, and it was all he could get. He got sponsorship from them, but he crashed half the time on that bike. He had staph infection. He was always busted during that. It was the worst period of his life.
I was going to say, because I think it was in your doc that you said when he actually said that when he got the next transition, he was sick from then on forward from everything, the transition all the way through to 70.
Yeah, when he switched to Harley, he did pretty well on that bike, but
Yeah.
that American Eagle just destroyed his body. That's
Well,
what most
breaking
of-
your back, just landing. It's like a full dress Road King Harley
I
trying
know,
to do
that's
it.
kind of what I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
that bike is ridiculously heavy. I just
Yeah.
pushed it off a curb and I was frightened.
Yeah, you think about that. These guys don't understand. I mean, obviously Harley's, all the demographics, all these motorcycles and everything have changed over the years. But you think about the weight of that bike, what it was in the 60s. It's like a bagger now.
Well,
It's like a street glide.
but
Right?
it wasn't only the weight; it was the suspension.
There was nothing.
There was nothing.
Lack
So
of-
your back, when you hit, just compress. I mean, it just fractured
no
your back
idea.
to pieces.
That's why Robbie had the titanium in his back, because
And he had suspension.
even with
and he
his
had
bike,
suspension with his bike.
anything ramp to ramp,
It's unreal.
old school like that, your vertebra is just going to get compressed.
Well, I mean, and it goes back to everybody that comes on the show and everybody we're talking about. They're like, "What's the biggest thing?" I'm like, "Dude, he was our first superhero. He was our first real life superhero." And he kept getting up over and over again. So we actually, we thought, we got a picture somewhere around here. I think you looked at it before. It's a picture of Evil in the half. It's like a Terminator look, And I said to us as kids, that's how we thought of him. Like we didn't think anything could kill this guy.
Well, the thing about Evil that I noticed by having boxers and professional athletes, there's the world champions, the best of the best, have the same character as Evil. And what that is for the boxer, you got to kill me to beat me. I don't care. And it's they absolutely have no fear. Evil it's like something missing or not right there, where you have no fear, and Evil possessed that.
He's the only time he was actually scared, and you could tell, and he admitted it, was Snake River. He thought he was definitely going to die.
Yeah, that's when that first came out. But you're right. I mean, he took that, he capitalized, and he owned that. Like there was no, and you saw that in his eyes. Like he had nothing. Even every jump he would get up and like they'd pick him all up and he'd be broken or skull broken or whatever. And he's like, "Get me to the camera." There was no stretchers. Like we didn't think this. It was unbelievable. This guy.
I'm sure he got nervous and he was scared to a point, but he had the attitude, "Screw it, I guess I'll die."
That's what the wild turkey was for.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Basically, just what? Guess what? I got to do a jump. I might die today. I might be home for supper. I don't know.
Something interesting. Gary Davis told me too, and in the movie, but he just always said, because he was one of the best.
Yeah.
But he said if he crashed once as bad as Evil did, he would have walked away.
Yeah.
And he said that's what he had, because all those other guys, they're all in wheelchairs, most of them. I mean, Bob Gillen, those guys, they took a
they're all
beating.
disabled nowadays, man.
Evil got really lucky too with as many breaks as he had in his neck and his back, and he just
to do it again and again.
He was
and
never paralyzed.
And all that stress on your back to do it again.
That's all that would have stopped him, was being paralyzed.
And I mean, he goes back through. I mean, most people, you get these injuries, they're in traction, they're in therapy for so long. And he's like, "No, I got a jump coming up in 30 days, 60 days, whatever." I'm like, "How?" I mean, it's unbelievable. How
What am I supposed to do? Give them their money back?
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's the way the guy was. And I mean, Tony, I guess the other thing I would like to touch base on is like, what do you think as far as you being a boxing promoter, how he self-promoted himself? I mean, I always look at things always. I mean, but he was such an amazing businessman to me. It just blows me away how he self-promoted himself to get everything there.
He was a master promoter, self-promotion.
Oh my gosh!
And he was probably the most difficult man to work with, what I hear, because
that a lot.
he wanted it his way. Now, the best promotion was Snake River Canyon. because he got with Bob Arum, who was the world's top boxing promoter,
Okay.
with Evel. And
Yeah.
they did such a great job, but they didn't like each other because their egos. I mean, you know, Bob told me at all the world champion fighters I ever worked with, Evel was the most difficult man I've ever worked with. And I get it. You know, a guy like Evel doesn't care. It's my way.
I think we got some races cooking.
We get
here.
some races cooking in the background here. We might have to.
I'm
Yeah.
glad they should have put the booth on the opposite end.
I
of the
know
building.
it's like I love it. It's the main display. How are we looking at it? Should we cut it out? All right. Yeah.
He's been sitting
It's
there
just
doing that.
background
Yeah.
noise, man.
Yeah. It's that background noise.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to maybe catch up at the hotel or do something.
Yeah.
You're local, right? Maybe we can do it on there too. So we'll do it on there. So, all right. Well, we're gonna cut out of here because we got the noises and races starting up, but we got a lot more to catch up with you on. You know, I'm
All right.
sure you'll be back on the show. So everybody, all right?
Monster
we're-
Truck Jam is up
Monster
next.
Truck Jam is obviously my back seat or something's going on here. We're supposed to be at a classic car show, but something's going on back there. So, all right. Well, we'll catch up with both you guys in a little while, and we're gonna carry on from the promotional standpoint when we get that back onto it.
You got it, brother.
All right. Thanks a
Thank
lot
you for
for being
having
on
me.
it. Thanks. All right.
Thanks,
bye.
John.